You might think she is captivated by your story about that big presentation at work or your elaborate plans for next summer's vacation, but the reality is far more complex. In those opening moments, her mind is operating like a high-speed analytical processor that would leave expert investigators in awe. Within the first 30 seconds of interaction, she is already cataloging dozens of subtle signals, from the way you hold your glass to the slight shift in your vocal resonance when you mention your family. Before you have even fully committed her name to memory, she has likely already sorted you into one of three distinct mental categories: potential long-term partner, a temporary interest, or someone she needs to politely distance herself from immediately. Most men move through the world entirely unaware that this silent, rigorous evaluation is taking place. Let's peel back the curtain on what is truly happening in her mind during those crucial first seconds, because mastering the understanding of these hidden dynamics could completely redefine how you are perceived by everyone you meet. The initial scan of your physical presentation is often complete before you even utter your first hello. It is a common misconception among men that this is about keeping up with the latest fashion trends or wearing expensive labels. In truth, what many women are looking for is intentionality. She is seeking the answer to a fundamental question. Is your appearance a result of a conscious choice, or is it merely an accident? Are you wearing that wrinkled shirt because your life is so demanding and successful that you prioritize higher-level tasks? Or is it because you simply cannot manage basic adult responsibilities? The psychological weight of that distinction is enormous. Men frequently fall into the trap of thinking wealth equals attraction. I have seen men in $3,000 suits dismissed within heartbeats because they looked like they were trying to buy a personality, while a man in a clean, perfectly fitting t-shirt and well-chosen jeans commanded genuine interest. One man looks like he is compensating for a lack of substance. The other looks like he has his life in total order. The condition of your clothing tells a narrative that you might not even realize you're writing. A tiny, neglected stain on your collar isn't just a spot of dirt. To her, it is a data point. She wonders if you truly didn't notice it, or if you noticed it and simply didn't care enough to address it. Pants that are several inches too long and dragging on the pavement signal that you are unable to manage a simple trip to a tailor. For a man, these feel like trivialities, but for a woman assessing your potential as a partner, these are indicators of how you might handle more significant life decisions. Consider the case of Brandon, a highly successful executive who sought my advice because he could never secure a second date. He was traditionally handsome, brilliant, and possessed a great sense of humor. His flaw? He dressed as if he were still living in a college dorm, ratty sneakers and promotional shirts from tech summits. He believed this showed he wasn't materialistic. However, the women he met, like Sarah, saw it as an inability to transition into the context of an adult life. The moment he aligned his wardrobe with his actual life status, the entire dynamic of his dating life shifted. Footwear is arguably the most underestimated trigger for judgment in the male-female interaction. It is not uncommon for a woman to look at a man's shoes before she even looks at his face. This isn't out of a love for brands. It is because shoes reveal the level of effort and the degree of attention to detail a man possesses. Beat-up athletic shoes worn in a fine dining environment scream a lack of social awareness. Formal shoes that haven't seen a brush since the day they were purchased suggest a tendency to do the absolute minimum required to get by. I recall a couple, Michael and Jessica, who are now happily together. Jessica later admitted she almost cancelled their first date because of his footwear. Michael was wearing expensive shoes, but they were in a state of total neglect, scuffed toes and separating soles. She told me she immediately wondered what else in his life was currently falling apart. If he couldn't maintain the very things he walked on every day, how could he maintain a healthy relationship? The choice of footwear is also a test of social intelligence. Wearing sandals to a sophisticated venue or heavy boots to a casual outdoor gathering signals that you either don't understand the rules of the environment or you simply choose to ignore them. If a man cannot read a room well enough to choose the right shoes, She may find it difficult to trust him to navigate more complex social or emotional landscapes. Beyond physical appearance, your behavior toward those around you is the most critical assessment that occurs. She is watching, with predatory precision, how you treat the server, the barista, or the valet. She is looking for your authentic character in the moments when you believe no one important is watching. A dismissive tone toward a waitress or an impatient sigh at a slow barista is immediately filed away. I once witnessed a man on a date who was being incredibly charming to his companion, but the moment the barista made a small error with his coffee, he snapped. He became condescending and made an unnecessary scene. I watched his date's expression go cold. The date was effectively over in that second. He just didn't know it yet. She saw who he was the moment a minor inconvenience entered the frame. The way you speak about people who aren't in the room reveals the blueprint of your inner world. If you mention a former partner with lingering bitterness, that is a massive red flag. If you speak poorly of your friends or complain incessantly about your family, she is listening closely. She knows that the way you describe others is exactly how you will describe her when she isn't around. If, in your stories, every ex-girlfriend was unstable, every boss was incompetent, and every friend eventually betrayed you, she will quickly realize the common denominator in all those failed interactions is you. Conversely, an authentic smile can redefine the entire atmosphere. I'm not talking about a practiced salesman grin, but a warm, genuine expression that actually reaches your eyes. Women can almost always detect the difference between a social smile and a real one. When you are genuinely amused or happy, how does your face change? That level of authenticity sets the foundation for trust. The total absence of a smile is equally loud. Many men believe that maintaining a serious, stoic mask looks more masculine, but in reality, it often just communicates emotional unavailability. A woman sees that and thinks, life with this man will feel heavy and devoid of joy. Grooming details that men often ignore are frequently the very things women focus on most. During a conversation, eyes naturally gravitate toward the mouth. It is, after all, the source of communication. Dry, neglected, or chapped lips are, at best, a distraction and, at worst, an immediate repellent. Many women are subconsciously imagining what it would be like to kiss you within the first few minutes. And if your lips look like you've been wandering a desert without water, that train of thought stops instantly. This isn't about having a perfect face. It's about basic self-maintenance and hygiene. Visible plaque or an unkempt appearance isn't just an aesthetic issue. It's an assessment of how you manage your life as a whole. My friend Liam couldn't understand why his interactions always ended in the friend zone. He was successful and funny, but he had chronically neglected his basic grooming in a way that felt gross to his dates. A simple commitment to self-care changed his social outcomes almost overnight. Scent is perhaps the most powerful subconscious filter in the human experience. Research suggests that women's brains are often more finely tuned to process scents than men's. You could have the perfect look and the perfect stories, but if your scent is discordant, the connection is severed. This doesn't just mean avoiding bad odors. It also means avoiding the mistake of perfume as a mask. Too much fragrance often signals that you are hiding something or that you aren't considerate of the shared air in a room. The layering of scent is what matters. The smell of being freshly clean combined with a very light touch of a high-quality scent will always outperform expensive cologne sprayed over an unwashed body. She can tell the difference between true hygiene and a cover-up. One of my subscribers once told me she ended a promising date early because the man smelled like he had bathed in cologne to hide the fact that he hadn't showered after his gym session. The resulting cocktail was physically nauseating to her, even though he likely thought he smelled incredible. Your hands are evaluated every time you gesture, reach for your phone, or touch a surface. She isn't looking at size or strength. She is looking for signs of care. Rough, neglected skin suggests you don't value your own well-being. Dirty or bitten fingernails suggest poor hygiene or a lack of self-control. There is a touch preview happening in her mind. As she looks at your hands, she is imagining how they would feel if they touched her skin or her hair. Would those palms be comforting, or would they feel like sandpaper? This isn't a conscious, logic-driven analysis. It is an instantaneous, visceral assessment. Similarly, long fingernails on men often trigger a very strong negative reaction. It isn't just about the look, it's about the hygiene and the practicality. It creates a subconscious desire in her to avoid physical contact. Your energy and the way you occupy space are evaluated the moment you enter a room. This isn't about your physical height or weight, it is about your energetic presence. Some men seem to shrink into themselves, as if they are apologizing for existing. Others expand aggressively, trying to dominate every conversation and every corner of the room. Women are almost always looking for that confident middle ground, a man who is comfortable in his own skin without needing to suppress others to feel powerful. The way you move reveals your relationship with your own body. Awkward, jittery movements suggest internal discomfort. Overly rigid, mechanical gestures can suggest pretense or intense anxiety. Natural, fluid movement is a hallmark of authenticity. A keen observer can read your entire confidence level just by watching you walk across a lobby. Patterns of eye contact also tell a complex story. Too little contact suggests insecurity or that you are being untruthful. Too much can feel aggressive or unsettling. On a subconscious level, she is timing your eye contact, noting when you look away and when you return your gaze. A man who cannot hold eye contact when discussing emotional or serious topics is often categorized as unreliable. Comfortable, natural eye contact that flows with the rhythm of the conversation is what builds real bridges of trust. Your relationship with your phone in those first moments is also vital. If you are constantly checking notifications, you are telling her she isn't interesting enough to hold your focus. A phone left face up on the table says you are waiting for something better to happen. Frequent glances at a smartwatch are a clear signal that you are not present and not ready for a real connection. The way you speak is analyzed far beyond the literal meaning of your words. Your pace, tone, volume, and inflection are all crucial data points. Speaking too quickly often betrays nervousness or a desperate need to dominate the airtime. Speaking too slowly can come across as condescending. Excessive volume suggests a lack of social awareness or internal insecurity. She is absorbing all these signals simultaneously, even while appearing to just listen to your anecdote. Nervous habits are recorded instantly: the bouncing leg under the table, the constant clearing of the throat, or the fidgeting with a watch or keys. While these aren't always deal breakers, they create a composite picture of your emotional state. For some, a little nervousness is endearing because it shows you care, but chronic anxiety can be off-putting. How often you interrupt her reveals your true level of respect for her as a person. Do you allow her to finish her thoughts? When she speaks, are you truly listening, or are you just waiting for your turn to talk again? Many women will intentionally pause in their stories just to see if a man will rush in to fill the silence with his own opinion. A man who constantly redirects the conversation back to himself is giving her a preview of exactly how the relationship will function in the long run. Laughter is another powerful indicator. She can hear the difference between your real laugh, your polite social laugh, and your nervous laugh. A man who never genuinely laughs appears emotionally walled off. One who laughs too hard at everything seems desperate for approval. Authentic laughter in truly funny moments is one of the quickest ways to build a genuine bond. The stories you choose to tell reveal your underlying values. A story about crushing your rivals at work might impress your male friends, but she might hear a lack of empathy or a ruthless streak. Mentioning the cost of your car in passing sounds like a plea for external validation. On the other hand, a genuinely funny, self-deprecating story shows that you are secure enough in yourself to admit to mistakes. She is assessing your emotional range. Can you show excitement without appearing manic? Can you handle disappointment without whining? Can you express frustration without becoming frightening? She is looking for emotional flexibility and maturity. A man with only one emotional setting, whether it's always joking or always intense, feels underdeveloped. Your reaction to her boundaries says everything. If she mentions she doesn't drink and you pressure her to have just one, you have failed a critical test. If she says she needs to head home by a certain time and you try to negotiate for 10 more minutes, you have shown you don't respect her autonomy. If you respect a boundary immediately and without question, you instantly separate yourself from the vast majority of men. Micro-expressions on your face during the conversation also reveal your hidden thoughts. That tiny roll of the eyes you thought she missed? She saw it. That slight smirk when she said something she considers important? She caught it. Many women read faces at a level men can scarcely imagine, catching every suppressed reaction. The flexibility test often happens naturally. A restaurant is full, a plan falls through, or a movie is sold out. How you handle that moment is a window into your soul. A man who becomes visibly irritated by a change in plans shows a lack of resilience. One who smoothly pivots to a plan B demonstrates emotional stability. Social calibration is also tested in group settings. If you meet her friends, they are all evaluating how you fit into the collective. Can you engage with different personalities? Do you include others in the conversation? Often, a woman will trust the collective assessment of her inner circle more than her own initial feelings. Genuine respect for feminine energy is paramount. This isn't about putting women on pedestals. It's about a real appreciation for their perspectives and experiences. A man who dismisses anything feminine as inferior is signaling that he will eventually dismiss her too. Your relationship with alcohol also speaks volumes. Needing multiple drinks to loosen up suggests social anxiety or dependency. Trying to push drinks on others shows a lack of respect for boundaries. Being comfortable with or without a drink is a hallmark of emotional maturity. How you mention your mother in casual conversation is a profound indicator. Hostility suggests unresolved conflicts. Obsession suggests a lack of independence. A healthy, boundaried respect is the green light she is looking for. Women know that the way you treat your mother is a powerful predictor of how you will treat them once the honeymoon phase of the relationship has passed. Spatial negotiation also reveals entitlement. How close do you stand? Do you touch her without permission? Do you block the exit with your body position? Many women are constantly monitoring their physical safety, and men who ignore these boundaries trigger internal alarms. Your character under minor stress is your character, period. When a server gets an order wrong or the valet takes too long, she is watching your reaction. Patience and kindness in the face of inconvenience are the best indicators of emotional self-regulation. The quality of your questions also reveals the depth of your interest. Are you asking genuine questions that show you want to know her, or does it feel like a job interview? Do you remember her previous answers and build on them? A man who asks thoughtful follow-up questions shows he is actually listening, not just performing the role of an interested party. The style of your compliments reveals your intentions. Generic comments about her appearance can feel lazy or manipulative. Specific, non-physical compliments about her choices, her logic, or her achievements show that you see her as a person, not just an object. Your posture broadcasts either confidence or defeat. Slouching suggests low energy or a lack of self-assurance. A natural, aligned posture shows that you are comfortable with who you are. Your pattern of making excuses also reveals your level of accountability. If you are late because of traffic, how you explain it matters. A man who can say, "I messed up," without a long list of justifications shows rare emotional maturity. There is a big difference between financial flexing and financial comfort. Constantly mentioning money suggests deep insecurity. Being unable to discuss it at all might suggest shame or a lack of stability. A natural, comfortable relationship with resources is a sign of a grounded life. Your use of language and grammar also creates a lasting impression of your social intelligence. Constant profanity suggests a limited emotional vocabulary, while the ability to adapt your speech to the context shows you can fit into various parts of her life. The final impression you leave is often the most important. How you end the interaction, whether you are desperate, aloof, or genuinely warm, is what she will remember. Decisions are often made based on the feeling that remains after you have walked away, not just the feeling during the conversation. I want to hear from you. What subtle things have you noticed people judge? What changed in your life when you became aware of these hidden assessments? Share your experiences in the comments. Let's help each other understand these dynamics, because awareness is the first step to becoming the best version of ourselves. If you want to master the art of understanding hidden motives and build relationships based on true awareness, subscribe to the Psycheria channel. Stop guessing, start seeing what is hidden from most eyes, and become the master of your social destiny.